Welcome to the CAA and One. I'm Amanda Poole, joined by CAA Women's Basketball Insider Monica Moore. First week of conference play under our belts. Monica, how are we feeling?
It was a great week. There were some really close games. I think these teams feel like they learned a lot about themselves going into week two.
Yes, and I think we learned a lot as well. But let's start with our biggest headlines from the first week of CAA action, starting off strong with Monmouth going 2-0 on the weekend, wins over Elon and North Carolina A&T to extend their win streak to 7 straight dubs. CAA co-player of the week this week, Gigi Gamble, finished with 25 points for her third straight game with 20 or more points against North Carolina A&T. And then on that Friday against Elon, she had a career high 30 points, career high 6 triples drained. Monica, thoughts?
Well, you said it. Gigi Gamble had herself a week, averaging 27 and a half points per game. But to me, it wasn't just the points that she was scoring, it was the offensive efficiency. She was very efficient with her shooting. And that was true for Monmouth as a whole. And I think if you had to point to one statistic that led to such a strong week, it was how well they shot the basketball as a team. You look at that North Carolina A&T game in the third quarter, they scored 21 points. They shot 73% from the field. That is on fire territory. But it's not just Gigi Gamble. It's Devine DeBulla. It's Alexis Davis. It's Alexis Andrews. They have lots of players who can shoot the basketball.
Moving on to Hampton's win over Stony Brook. First 1-0 start in CAA play for the Pirates since that 2022-23 season. Aaron Battle, Monica, you predicted this. Battle had a career high 23 points. You called it. She was the game changer.
She really was. And I loved the 23 points. I loved the 7 rebounds. But the thing that I loved the most was in the fourth quarter of that basketball game. Stony Brook would not go away. Credit the Seawolves. They kept cutting the lead back to 4 points. And then Aaron Battle would just answer with a fantastic bucket. I love the fact that when the game's on the line, she was coming up with the big time baskets. Now, I talked about the Monmouth offense. I thought the Hampton defense was one of the biggest storylines in this game. They held the Seawolves to 30.5% shooting. They had 7 steals. They had 7 blocks. So great balance from the Pirates. That's a huge win for Hampton.
I like what you said. I think we're going to use that in the future. Big time battle. That's going to be the new nickname. I love it. Moving on to Stony Brook. After that loss, they really bounced back in an incredible way on Sunday in an overtime win against William and Mary, 73-57, the final score there. That snapped a 7-game win streak for the Tribe. And over the final 15 minutes of play, this was crazy. Stony Brook outscoring the Tribe 34-14. They had 24 points off of turnovers the whole game. And you got to look at grad transfer Diaka Beretti, just too shy of tying a career high for her. She had 24 points during 4 threes, one of 3 players in double-digit scoring for Stony Brook.
Yeah, and that's the storyline. We told you last week we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about that all season long because
Yeah.
balance is so huge. I think if you're a Stony Brook fan, there was a lot to be really excited about this week because even in the loss to Hampton, Stony Brook was in that game start to finish. I love the free throw shooting for Stony Brook. They shot very well from the free throw line. They were 15 of 18 from the charity stripe. But the thing that stood out to me the most was the rebounding. And you look at their win over William and Mary, they had a plus 23 rebounding margin. That is huge. If you are Stony Brook, 18 offensive rebounds. So I think for Stony Brook right now, they've got a lot of momentum. We're seeing a lot of good things out of the Seawolves.
To round out the discussion, we've got Towson at Campbell. The Tigers picking up a close win, 57-54 on Friday. Tigers only playing 1 game this past weekend, but a good one. India Johnston scoring 19 points off the bench for Towson in just 29 minutes of action. And she was kickstarting that second quarter for Towson, scoring the first 11 points in that quarter to help give the Tigers the lead at halftime.
Yes, it certainly helps when it's India Johnston coming off the bench. And you pointed it out because the second quarter was the quarter in
Yeah.
that basketball game. It decided the game. Towson outscoring Campbell 20-14 because Campbell won the second half of the game. Credit to the Camels. They outscored Towson 28-27. But the thing that Towson did well down the stretch, and I know that Laura Harper has to be very happy about this, in the last minute of that basketball game, they were 7 of 8 from the free throw line. If you want to win close games, if you want to be successful in the postseason, you have to knock down your free throws coming down the stretch. And Towson did that masterfully against Campbell.
Now, looking ahead after a great first week, we've got another weekend of great matchups on the way. I'll show you the schedule right here. And we'll move on to our segment called Game Changers as we pick out a couple players from 3 different matchups that we think can change the game, can be difference makers this weekend. Monica, let's start with Charleston at William and Mary tonight at 7 p.m. Monica, who are you watching?
I mean, I'm definitely watching Taryn Barbeau. I think
Whoa,
anyone
shocker,
is
shocker.
watching Taryn Barbeau, 3-time CAA Player of the Week so far and counting. She is the reigning co-player of the week with Gigi Gamble. You look at the numbers she put out last week, it was unbelievable. 26 and a half points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. But we talked about offensive efficiency and how important it is. She shot 54% from the field, 61% from behind the 3-point line. Are you kidding me? That is unbelievable. Taryn Barbeau, absolutely a game-changing player.
Yeah, video game numbers for sure. And when you look at William and Mary, I'm looking at Cassidy Geddes. When you have big games like this, you need big experienced players, right? And she's such an experienced guard. She's been so consistent for the Tribe. When her teammates aren't hitting shots like they normally do, Geddes is making something happen, right? Driving a lane, pulling up from the three. She put up a season high 21 points in that overtime loss against Stony Brook where she hit 5 threes. So if she stays hot, she could be a difference come tonight. Moving on to our next game, Elon at Campbell today, float game of the week. Monica, who are you looking to watch?
I think a safe bet is someone named Jasmine. If you are a Campbell fan, that's for sure. Jasmine DeFore, Jasmine Felton. I'm going Jasmine Felton. Listen, I thought she was outstanding against Towson. She had her second double-double of the season, 15 points, 12 rebounds. I know she didn't have her best scoring day against Drexel, but the thing about Jasmine Felton is that you think about the offensive numbers. I think the defensive numbers are very impressive for her as well. 22 steals, 18 blocks on the season so far.
Yeah, and defense is going to be big for this Campbell matchup, taking on a hot Elon offense that scored 84 points or more in a CAA game for the first time since 2022 in its win over Hampton this past weekend. Now, that explosive effort was led by Lene Corbett's career high 28 points. A 6-foot forward asserting her presence in the paint can make a difference come tonight. Rounding out our matchups is North Carolina A&T at Stony Brook on Sunday. I got to go with the Seawolves, Diaka Beretti, who we've talked about already. She's going to make something happen for Stony Brook. She can jab step and take off. She's got finesse at getting to the rim. And now seeing that 3-ball go in, great sign if you're a Seawolf.
I think I'm going to go with Paris Locke for North Carolina A&T. She's coming off a season high against Monmouth, 18 points. And again, I think you're sensing a theme here. Offensive efficiency, 7 of 10 shooting from the floor. Storyline was the same against William and Mary, 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting, 9 rebounds. I love the way that she's shooting the basketball. She's shooting the ball with confidence.
Well, another weekend set for some exciting matchups. We can't wait to tune in. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow CAA Basketball on Twitter and catch all the action live on Flow College. For Monica Moore, I'm Amanda Poole. See you next week.